Welcome back to Murder with the Missus. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy, and today we're going to tell you about Tiffiney Crawford.
Don't forget to smash that like button. Check out the description for the links of all of our podcast platforms, Cash App, and Buy Me a Coffee. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends. Do not forget to tell your friends.
Tell them.
Need those subscribers.
Bring them in. Now, I feel like we haven't done one of these in a minute, so here we are. Except this one has a conclusion. This does have a trigger warning for talk of self-harm, so please proceed with caution. Safety first.
Trigger warning.
Just a warning. We're in Alabama for this one. Tiffiney was the firstborn and the only daughter in her family. As an adult, she was spontaneous, had a huge heart, and wanted to engulf everyone around her and help them find joy, according to her mom. Jason Crawford was married and had a son named Logan. But that marriage ended in divorce when Jason says his first wife had an affair. Several years later, he met Tiffiney. Now, at that time, Tiffiney was married, but Jason says there were fireworks from the beginning with the two of them. He said she was striking, beautiful, and outgoing. Everything he wasn't, so it was an opposites attract situation. He was smitten. Apparently, Tiffiney was too, because she was currently married, so she divorced her husband and married Jason in 2011. Together, they had his son Logan, then they had two kids of their own, a son and a daughter. Tiffiney saw that there were other mothers who just needed someone to talk to, so she started MHM, which is Mothers Helping Mothers. It is currently all over the country. MHM Director Valerie Shields says it's a support group to help bring mothers together, so no mother is ever alone in her journey through motherhood, because moms tend to feel alone a lot and when they have children and they feel kind of secluded. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. When she passed away, the group had 9,000 members.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was growing. There was a need for it, apparently, which I understand. And that brings us to 2017. You have 37-year-old Jason, 32-year-old Tiffiney, Logan, who is now 14, and then their son is 5, daughter is 4. They're all living together. Jason noticed that something was going on. Tiffiney was getting more distant. She was drinking a lot, sometimes 3 bottles a week. Tiffiney was having an affair. Her mom, Cheryl, and one of her friends, Lindsay, knew about it, but Jason did not. The boyfriend had broken up with her, so that didn't help things. But Lindsay said that she had already got a job at Publix and had saved about $500 at this point because she had plans to leave Jason when she got enough money. It all came to a head on May 2nd of 2017. Jason and Logan were at home. Tiffiney and the 2 youngest kids were on their way home. Jason was on the shared computer at the house and found messages between Tiffiney and the boyfriend. He called her and asked her about it, and she denied an affair. Tiffiney did call Cheryl and said that her and Jason were going to have to talk about their problems when she got home. But Tiffiney didn't sound worried or scared. She sounded hyper and anxious. When they got home, the kids went into the house, but Jason wouldn't let Tiffiney go inside. They stayed outside arguing, saying that she had to go somewhere else for the night because she had destroyed the sanctity of their marriage. He was angry, but described it as a controlled anger.
I mean, does he have a history of being violent or anything?
Good question, but I didn't find anything saying that he'd ever been violent.
Okay.
Just mad. He does do interviews, and I saw him on a 48 Hours episode, and he talks very calmly, kind of like when someone is picking their words very carefully, even toned. And keep in mind, as always, this is Jason's version of events we're going to talk about, so we don't have the other side to go off of. After about an hour of arguing, she asked him to go inside and get her work clothes. He went inside. The younger kids were already asleep, so he got her clothes, and he says he threw them to her. He said he told her that he was done talking, and the last thing she said was, "I love you," as he was going back into the house. Just inside the house, he heard a gunshot, a scream, and then another gunshot. He immediately went back outside into the minivan that she had been sitting in. The door was either closed or pulled to. He couldn't remember exactly if it was fully shut or if it was just pulled in the shut position. Tiffiney was slumped in the driver's seat, so he called 911 just after 11 p.m., saying his wife had been shot. Now, he is calm on this call. They ask him if she is breathing, and he says he doesn't know. He's trying to pick her up so he can see. They ask him who shot her in the head. He didn't answer. It was asked more than once. Who has she been shot by? Who shot her? And he avoids the question every time, responding with, please send an ambulance, or she's been shot in the head. He was asked by 48 Hours about that. Why didn't you answer? And he said he felt like that if he spoke it into existence, then it would be true.
I mean, if it happened that way, it would already be true.
If she did it to herself, it would already be true.
Yeah.
So why not just say it? The operator even asked if she shot herself in the head, and he didn't respond. She asked where the gun is, and he says it's beside her. Now, there is body cam footage available, and you can see where a cop tries to move her arm to check her pulse, and the gun falls. It had been in her left hand. EMS arrives and tries to revive her, but it's too late. He doesn't mention an affair to the cops in any of the body cam footage. He didn't mention it to the 911 operator either. You hear one of the cops say, "There's nothing here so far that says anything to me other than a suicide." You also see Jason's mom arrive. Logan had called her from inside the house. Now, this is Rhonda. What's interesting about Rhonda is that the cops already know her. You even hear on the body cam footage when a cop says Jason is Rhonda's son. That's because Rhonda is the office manager for the Coleman County Sheriff's Office. Rhonda is actually the one who called Cheryl to tell her what happened. And Sheriff Matt Gentry came to the scene too. The coroner tells Sheriff Gentry at the scene that it appeared to be a suicide. The only weird thing is that there were 2 shots. One was to the left jaw area, and one was to her left temple. The sheriff says this is odd, but not unheard of. It's happened before, where people have shot themselves twice.
But it's damn sure not common.
No, sir, it is not.
I mean,
it is not common.
A lot of times, man.
It's one shot.
Yeah, because if you screw up, a lot of times they're like,
what am I doing?
What did I do?
Yes.
They don't realize that they messed up.
Yes. And that's like just the mental part of it. What about the pain? Like, I don't know. I've never been shot, but I hear it's a searing, burning pain.
But that's the whole thing. He's like, we don't know.
We don't know
what that person was going through. I mean,
nope.
Mentally or physically or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just, and I don't want to say that it was what it was,
right.
What they're saying it is,
right.
But I don't know, looks a little hinky.
Looks hinky. Now, because of Rhonda giving them a connection to the case, the sheriff requested an autopsy. He said that they treat every suicide like a homicide. Something we love to hear and wish more people did. We say it all the time. Treat it like a homicide until you've exhausted all options.
Treat it like that until proven otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The minivan was searched and evidence was seized. They took pictures, all kinds of things. The next morning, the sheriff turned the case over to the Alabama State Bureau of Investigation. Now, State Agent Joe Parrish said as soon as he got the case, he went to the district attorney's office and got a search warrant for the van. This is the crime scene, after all. And that's when he found out that the van had already been turned back over to the family.
Oh, God.
So he went to the family, and the van,
of course,
had already been cleaned.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, I read it ahead of time, and
yes,
she hadn't even said it yet.
Nope.
Yeah, of course it had. I mean, it's just...
this was the next day.
The investigation's not even over with.
The investigation had not even started for the state.
But I mean, yeah, so I mean, they have it in their custody. Why?
The sheriff told them they could.
No.
The sheriff did.
It doesn't matter. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
Not until they come to a rock solid conclusion.
And they thought that they had.
Well, that's up to the Alabama, what is it? Alabama investigation?
State Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah, State Bureau. Mm-hmm. That's up to them now.
Not the sheriff's office.
Not the sheriff's office.
Yep. And
so
Jason,
you just ruined their investigation.
yes. Jason said in his interview that they didn't want the kids to see anything when they woke up the next morning. So that's why he and his family cleaned it. I mean, could you have cleaned it? Like if that was me?
Clean it up within hours of you dying?
In it, yes.
No, I'd been like, just keep it.
There's like...
I wouldn't even want it back.
Exactly. There's just too much, but you never know. Like we say, we can't pass judgment. Just personally, I would not.
This just ups the level of
hinkiness,
of hinky and suspiciousness.
Yes,
all the way out.
Yeah, most people, I believe, would not have been able to do that. And it's not like it happened in the house. You could easily keep a 4 and 5-year-old away from a minivan. Like you didn't have to go clean it up so they didn't see it.
Well, I mean,
like,
most 4 and 5-year-olds, they're off playing in their rooms and stuff.
They're not paying attention.
They're not trying to go anywhere near that stuff.
Exactly. And this also frustrated Agent Parrish, of course. Sheriff Gentry had said that there was nothing of evidentiary value to the van. He said even though it was treated like a suicide from the start, they did work it as a homicide. They took pictures. They collected evidence like they should have. But that was all they needed to do, apparently. And it was that next day that Jason first mentioned that he had argued with her about her having an affair. Up to that point, he had not mentioned that at all. He did say that they were arguing, but he had never mentioned what they were arguing about. So now you're looking at some motive if she was having an affair. So it's just getting worse and worse. It's snowballing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, the sheriff shouldn't have released it. If anything, he should have released it to the Alabama.
If he was going to turn the case over, he knew he was going to turn the case over.
He had to turn all evidence over, which is including the van.
The crime scene.
Everything. Because they can go in there with a fine-tooth comb. They can go in there and do their part. They can look at all the stuff that, what they did, which normally is
bare minimum,
half-ass.
Yep.
And then they can go and fill the blanks in.
Do their own investigation.
Now they can't fill the blanks in. Now they have to go off of what they was given.
The pictures.
And that's it.
Yeah. The pictures and the gun. It's basically what they have.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, we want to take a small little break. We're not going to do the commercial like we normally do, but we do want to thank everybody for subscribing.
Yes.
We have been getting new subscribers and everything, and we get new ones every day.
Yeah, we do. Come on board, y'all.
Yeah, and we see a lot of people that are watching our videos, and then return people. And just click that little subscribe button, hit the notification, and it'll tell you when we come on and everything. And
sometimes we do lives.
Oh yeah, well, we did a live on the 25th on Saturday, and I think we're going to try to start doing more lives either on the weekends or every other weekend or something like that. Just, I got to give Amy a break every once in a while because, she does a lot of research and I got to let her mind kind of relax a little bit.
Plus we have multiple regular stuff to do.
Yeah. We're always busy. We're constantly going and everything. But if you guys would like to contribute to the podcast, we do have Cash App, which is at, you have to do it with dna.truecrime@gmail.com, or you can go to Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/MWTM.
And there's so many other ways. Tell your friends. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Lots of people watch. Not everybody hits the subscribe button. They just kind of scroll through and look for new videos. But you can hit that subscribe and it will tell you when there's a new video.
I mean, more than anything, subscribers. I mean, we're looking more subscribers.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
And we'll give you some
to everybody who has contributed, thank you so much. It helps more than you know.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, back to the story.
Okay. So it would be a week later that Agent Parrish interviewed Jason. He gave his version of events, but the main thing that Agent Parrish was interested in was if she was right-handed or left-handed. Jason confirmed that she was right-handed.
See, that was going to be my question, but then I figured you was going to cover this on down.
Yep.
So.
Because you're always asking that anyways. That's the first thing.
Yeah, and I didn't want to jumped to it because I knew he was probably going to cover it. So
I'm on it. He said he didn't know if she was so dominantly right-handed that she couldn't use her left hand at all, but the entry wounds were on the left side of her head. The gun was in her left hand.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a Ruger 38 special revolver with a pink grip.
Okay.
She kept it in the door of the van to use for protection. And I looked this up, and this gun weighs about 13 and a half ounces.
Yeah,
so it's very lightweight.
So that would have been left side.
Yeah. So it's in the door. She's in the driver's side. Everything is on her left. She literally picked it up.
Yep.
It would be another week that they would bring Jason in for a polygraph test. And they told him that he failed it.
Well, I mean, okay, so let me throw this out there.
Throw it out.
I'm left-handed.
You are. But
I do everything else right-handed.
You're ambidextrous.
So, I mean, there's that.
It's really weird. He does do everything right-handed, but writes left-handed.
I write left-handed. I can write right-handed, but my prominent writing hand is left.
Yep.
But everything else I do is right-handed.
Very true.
So, might have one of them things.
You never know. I can't use my left hand at all.
Yeah.
It functions
I can use either hand on pretty much anything, but when I'm throwing a ball, when I'm batting, when I'm shooting a gun, anything like that, it's right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I can do it the other way, I go right-handed.
More comfortable, right?
Yep.
Very, very true. So she could have had the same situation going on.
Yeah.
Maybe she was good with both hands. But they used the fact that he failed the polygraph, they really go after him because, I don't know, they wanted to, and then they just used this as a reason.
Yeah.
The agent tells him that he killed his wife, and Jason got up and left. He's like, I'm not under arrest. I'm leaving. The agent was yelling after him as he was leaving the room and walking down the hall. Walk out that fucking door. We gave you a chance. Just yelling. He was hot about this. It was almost a year later.
Well, I mean, honestly, what did the agent plan to gain out of that?
Well, they thought that if they told him that he failed the polygraph, he would just confess or something.
Which is not really usable in court.
It's not usable in court, and it's not even considered actual science by a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, they can use it in court, but it doesn't really matter.
No, they can't. It's not even admissible.
It's not? Okay. Mm-mm. Yeah, so there you go. So it's not even worth a shit.
Because it's basically a stress test, and you can be stressed about all kinds of things. And
I mean, especially if his wife just died, of course he's stressed out about it because now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Plus he's in the damn police station again.
But what's the point in him yelling?
Oh, he was mad. That agent was mad.
I mean, you yell at me down the hallway, you think I'm going to stop to listen?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He's yelling and cussing. He said the F word.
Yeah. I'll flip him off and keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I said, he wasn't under arrest. He even said, I'm not under arrest. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And you can. You are more than welcome. It was almost, like I said, a year later before the autopsy report came out. So she passed away in May of 2017, and the report is dated March of 2018. It said gunshot wound A was a penetrating gunshot wound to her left temporal scalp at intermediate range. Gunshot wound B was a penetrating gunshot wound of the left inferior face at intermediate range. The manner of death was listed as homicide.
Okay, so did she have gunpowder burns?
Oh, who knows? We'll get to that too.
Okay. Go ahead.
Her mom, Cheryl, was torn, to say the least. She didn't think that Tiffiney could hurt herself, but she also didn't believe that Jason could have done it either. Now, Coleman County Assistant District Attorney Jeff Roberts and his legal assistant, Deborah Ball, decided to go ahead and indict Jason. The case was taken to the grand jury, and they also agreed. So they filed on May 17th of 2018, his indictment. On May 21st, Jason turned himself in. It took about 30 minutes to process him and for him to bond right back out. So he was literally only there for a half hour.
That was a quick process.
That was the quickest process I've ever seen.
I've ever heard of.
They said he was out within 30 minutes, and I've never heard that.
No.
Well, yeah. So while they said they treated this like a homicide, they didn't search the house, and they didn't check Jason for gunshot residue either.
Oh, too late now.
Too late now. they can call it what they want, but they basically just took pictures of the van and took the gun. Like I said, pictures and gun. So it was a battle for the state to go on trial on November 14th of 2022. Jason testified to his version of events. He talked about how much he loved her and how innocent he was. But he did admit to calling her a degrading name that night when they were arguing. He told her she was an unfit mother and that he was talking down to her like she wasn't even a human. So he was trying to hurt her.
So he's fighting dirty.
He was fighting dirty. And now he kind of feels bad. He's like, maybe that contributed to it because I was being so mean.
She was cheating on him, right?
Right. But her boyfriend had just broken up with her too. Yeah. So she was already in a...
Yeah. So, I mean, he's hurt too.
He's very hurt. Yeah. Because his first wife has cheated too. So now his second wife has cheated.
Yeah. So, I mean,
he was mad.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, they'll say things that they don't really mean.
I know a lot of people that fight like that. Yep.
And one of them things,
it's you hurt me, so I'm going to make you hurt too. Yeah. So that you feel just as shitty as I do. But how far would he take that is the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also showed his temper a little bit on the stand when he argued with the prosecutor, which wasn't a good look for him because, like I said, he's very even-toned, he's very matter-of-fact, and he calculates his answers. So for him to lose it on the stand a little bit, it was like, oh, now I see what you look like when you're mad. You really don't want to do that. That wasn't good. It wasn't good. But there was someone that missed all of that, and that was Cheryl. She came the first day of trial just to testify, and she didn't attend the rest of the trial. She was like, I'm not going to sit there. She was still on Jason's side. And she said that both sides were going to talk about things that she didn't want in her head, and I can't blame her there. 48 Hours was there, but not allowed in the courtroom with their cameras. So we see in interviews what happened. We can't see firsthand. A friend testified that Jason called her when he found out that Tiffiney was having an affair, and she said that he couldn't go through that again. That's what he told her. I can't go through this again. Talking about the first wife. Mm-hmm. Jason, of course, says he didn't say that. So I doubt they're still friends. His son, Logan, said that he heard Jason in the house right before the gunshots.
Well, maybe he did say it, but he was like depressed and...
Yeah, you never know.
You know what I mean? And he just can't remember him saying that. I mean, people say things when they're depressed and not...
Plus, just because you feel like you can't go through something mentally or emotionally does not mean that you're going to go out and hurt somebody. It's not necessarily a slam dunk on that. So,
and don't think we're taking up for anybody here.
We have to see both sides.
We're not, we got to see both sides. We're not saying that Jason's didn't do it or did do it. And we're not saying that, Tiffiney
did or didn't
do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're just working it out.
Working it out. That's what you're supposed to do on these. If you come in with your mind already set.
Yeah.
Bro. So when his son said that he heard him right before the gunshots, he was putting Jason in the house, meaning that he couldn't have done that to Tiffiney. But I wonder, because remember he said he went into the house, got her clothes, and then went back out and threw them at her and then walked back in the house. And he immediately heard that gunshot. So I was wondering if Logan could have heard him come back in the house to get the clothes. And because it was so quick that he thought it was him in the house right before the gunshot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know the time frame in there, but it couldn't have been too long. So I don't know. I'd need to know the time frame on that. And the state said that over the years, Logan's story could have morphed to match Jason's version of events. Because remember, he was 14 when this happened. So if he hears his dad on repeat.
Yeah. I mean, he was only 14. So, I mean, that could be possible.
It could be possible.
And I mean, did Jason... here's another thing is like, did Jason have the gun in the clothes?
No, she had, supposedly it always stayed in her door. That's according to everybody. So, but it doesn't mean he didn't take it out.
Yeah, exactly.
I get what you're saying. And defense talked about her lover breaking up with her, that she had started seeing a counselor the day before she died. Her journal entry from that day says, I'm struggling with figuring out what to do with myself. Saying that all of this shows that she had signs that she was thinking of hurting herself. But I can't make that make sense because that's a pretty big stretch from I'm struggling to figure out what to do with myself to I want to hurt myself. But that's what they're going with. DNA analyst Angela Fletcher testified that there was so little DNA detected on the gun that it was difficult to get a read. She did know that Tiffany's DNA was not on the gun. There was male DNA, though, on the grip and on the trigger. Yep. But it was such a small amount that they couldn't get an actual profile from it to see who it belonged to. So they couldn't say, oh, this is definitely Jason. Jason said his dad had gave her the gun, so it could have been his. Her brother had shot the gun, so it could have been his. Like, there's other males that have touched this gun.
But if she shot the gun that night, where is her DNA?
If she shot it, and it was even in her hand when the cops got there.
More than likely, it'd been all over that gun.
All over it.
It'd been in the barrel. It'd been all over it. I mean, it's...
What was on the bullets? Did you test the bullets? Whose fingerprints were on them? Did she load it? Why was there... Is there any DNA of hers on that gun at all? I just need to know.
Yeah.
But they said no. I don't know about the bullets, but they said not on the gun for sure.
So basically, they're, at the very, when a couple up, you saying that, her journal had read that, she had showed signs of maybe hurting herself and everything.
That's what they were using, yeah.
So it's basically, they was saying she had depression.
Right.
And everything.
Right.
And, depression looks like many things.
Many things.
Yeah.
Many things.
I mean, it could be a smile on a person's face. It could be
anything.
It could be anything. I mean,
you're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be a normal guy just talking to you every day and you not know what he's going through.
That's why you always hear, I never would have thought he would do that, or I never would have seen her do that. Yep. Because it's not always just cut and dry. It's rarely cut and dry, actually. So
that's why it's kind of weird on this one right here, because you don't know.
Right.
For sure. You're kind of bouncing back and forth and everything. Right. And you're like, I don't know. The cops they really kind of screwed this investigation.
Yeah.
They really did.
But we're going to get into something else now that I think it's another little piece.
My little tied up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the fact that her DNA was not on the gun was kind of planting the idea. Well, it was planting the idea that the gun had been wiped, because obviously it would have to. The medical examiner who did the autopsy had some interesting information.
Yeah.
She said there was an absence of gunpowder particles and a lack of abrasion on the wounds, indicating that the gun had to be 10 inches or further away when it was shot.
Really?
Keep that in mind. Plus, with the door closed and the gun found in her left hand, that's a pretty tight space to hold a gun 10 inches away. There's no contact wounds, so the gun wasn't fired while being held against her skin. So if you think of the most common way that somebody does that, it's usually pressed up against them so that they don't have any issues. There's no missing. There's no, you want to make sure you get it right. But to do it from 10 inches away in the van, I need to measure how far my head is from the door when my door is shut, and then put a gun in my hand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is there enough space?
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Could she have done it?
Oh, so the door was shut.
Door was shut.
No, that'd be about...
You see the mathing over there?
No.
Do you think it's possible? It'd be tight.
It's tight.
It'd be tight.
It's tight. It was a van.
It was a minivan.
Like a minivan?
Mm-hmm. It was a minivan.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, it'd be tight.
It'd be tight, but it's doable.
You're talking like, maybe 18...
I don't think there's that much.
You'd be like 18 to 20 inches.
You think so?
Yeah, you'd be like 18 to 20 inches from the window to the middle of the seat and everything.
That looks like too much space to me.
But
it could be me. I
totally
guess I'm riding on the door.
I know.
You know? Oh, I know. Okay. Darren's on the case.
Yeah, we ain't talking about fishing.
True.
We ain't talking about fishing.
No fish stories.
No, we ain't doing no fish tales.
So all that she had to go off of, remember, were the...
Sorry, that was
DuckTales. She only had the pictures, right, of the van. So she can't really look at it. She can't really do the dimensions. She can't really do anything, but she does know. She's going with what she knows. There's no contact wounds. There's no gunpowder particles. So if you shoot something, gunpowder particles come out and they're going to hit whatever is in front of it, like her head. So there wasn't very much of that. So she looked at those pictures and she saw that there was no blood on the driver's door and there was no blood on the window.
So no.
I mean the driver's side. If it would have went in, there would have been spatter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There was no spatter. So to her, that indicated that the door was open when the gun was fired.
And then that gives it more room.
Exactly. And that Jason was likely standing in that door when he fired those shots.
And of course, they didn't check any of his clothes.
No, sir. Well, you can see in the body cam footage that he doesn't have blood on him. He's wearing a shirt and shorts.
Yeah, but he had time to go in and change. And
I mean, he's at his house. He's at his house. He could just walk inside. And since they didn't check the house, they don't know if there's any bloody clothes in there. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What's my next note? Defense brought in former chief medical examiner James Lordson. And it was I think it was a video of him. I don't think he was actually there. So they showed a video of him. And he said he believed that this was a suicide and that her hair had blocked those gunshot particles to keep them from being on her.
Okay.
Dr. Valerie says it would have had to have blocked some of it, yes, but not all of it. It wouldn't have blocked all of it. There should have been a lot more on her, even through her hair.
I mean, you know, how thick was her hair?
It wasn't that thick.
Yeah.
It wasn't that thick.
But, I mean, you know, you got two doctors that are kind of going back and forth and everything.
There's always a doctor fight.
Yeah.
So now it's up to the jury.
Yeah.
They started deliberations at 3:15. At 5:20, they requested the body cam footage. Then they requested to hear the 911 call again. And at 8:05, they had a verdict. Guilty. Cheryl had come back into the courtroom for the verdict. She said that a friend had said, "Hallelujah," when they read the guilty verdict. And this rubbed her the wrong way. There was nothing to cheer about. There was no justice here, and everybody loses. So she was not happy. They did, 48 Hours did interview a jury member, and they said that it was the 911 call that sealed the deal. He was asked several times who shot her, and he avoided answering every time. She asked where the gun was, and he said it was beside her, but it was in her hand and even fell when the cops got there. Jason says he was correct. It was in her hand and beside her. He just used the wrong words for the jury. And in true dramatic fashion, 48 Hours asked Cheryl after the verdict, because there was a little time until sentencing. And so they were like, now that you know that he's been found guilty, do you want to hear this evidence to see why they found him guilty? And she said yes. So after reviewing and getting the details, she said, I now believe that he did kill her. Mm-hmm.
So she was in denial until then?
Yeah, she did not want to believe that he could do that.
Wow.
Because now those kids have lost both parents, and she didn't think that he would do that to the kids, much less her.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Now, on March 10th of 2023, that was the sentencing hearing. Cheryl did take the stand, but it went a little differently than the last time she took the stand. She asked him, if not you, who? And Jason was sentenced to 99 years in prison.
Wow.
But because of Alabama law, he will be eligible for parole in 15 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. He did file an appeal, but it was denied. So that's where he's at. He's just waiting his time. And so now mom believes he did it.
Yeah.
Ooh, she was in such turmoil. She seems like a pretty good person.
Yeah.
She was really not wanting to believe it.
Well, I mean, you know, it was kind of back and forth, you know.
It's very back and forth.
Yeah. I mean, but, you know, once you say that the door was open and all that stuff, I mean, that's why I was like, you know.
But then you got the other experts saying no.
Yeah. It's just one of them deals where you got to kind of go back and forth until you finally come to the conclusion. Now, a lot of people, you'll jump to that automatically, but then it turns out the other way.
Yeah.
But anyway.
We all will have our own opinions on this one, I'm sure.
Exactly. I mean, you know, and comment and let us know what you think. You know.
Tell me. Now, in Sportsman Lake Park, there is a purple buddy bench in Tiffany's memory. That's buddy cool. Bench, yeah, it's cute. The buddy bench program originated in Germany and made its way to the States.
Oh, the buddy bench, that's where it's like, is that the one where it's like?
No.
Oh,
It's literally just a bench that says buddy bench.
Oh, okay. Because there's buddy benches out there where like one person sits one way and the other person sits this way, and it's like so they can sit there and talk. And there's
See
like
each
a
other.
table, and
It's pretty neat. I like those.
That's the buddy benches that I know of.
So this is it's a program. So according to MHM Director Valerie Shields, the buddy bench is a simple idea to eliminate loneliness and foster friendship on the playground, to help spread the message of inclusion and kindness. It's a place for kids to sit who are alone and have no one to play with. Students are encouraged to go to any child they see sitting on the bench and initiate them to play. So it's a pretty cool idea.
That's pretty cool.
So they have one in her memory, and it's purple, which is her favorite color. And you'll see pictures of it on our thumbnails, and we'll try to post them so you can see. It's very neat.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah. But that's where we are. Like I said, we have a conclusion, but for some people, it's not going to be a conclusion, and for others, it is. So
yeah, and
like
you said, he is trying to appeal it.
He is. He's trying to get up.
But honestly, I mean, for what he got, and he's able for parole, that's in 15. Come on.
Yeah.
I think for something like that, no.
Well, just because he's eligible don't mean he'll get it.
Yeah, but
most of the time they are denied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he'll probably be that cool as a cucumber in jail and end up getting it.
That's true.
But anyway, so that's it for this one. Make sure you guys tune into the next one. And make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.